Welcome to the Great People Show, your guide to greatness, your GPS to excellence. Here's your host, J.J. White.
Good morning and welcome to the Great People Show. I am your host, J.J. White, and in this Great People studio with me is my co-host, James Muncie.
Right
Good morning,
here.
James.
Good morning, JJ.
I was going to ask you what's on your mind, but I'm afraid to know the answer.
I don't know if you want to know the answer.
No, it
to
might
that.
get the show completely off track.
We're trying to stay on message today, right?
We were having a Boy Scout conversation.
We were.
Because you're an Eagle Scout.
Yes.
Now, is that was or is? How does that work?
I think it's technically for life, but
I'm just curious. Yeah, so we were thinking about diverting from our topic this morning, but then realized probably not a good idea.
Yeah, definitely was. Well, now that you've brought it up, though.
Yeah, now that we've broken the seal on it, we might as well chatter. So if you want to talk Boy Scouts, call us at 804-454-1366, and we will somehow spin it into today's topic.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about it, and I'm going to work on forgiving them.
Oh, that was a nice little lead in there. I like that.
Little transition.
So good morning again. Many of you are joining us here on 820 AM and 97.7 FM, The Answer here in Richmond. We also broadcast live on Facebook. So you get to view us in the Great People studio. A lot of people like to watch us on video. It's way more fun that way, even though we love radio. You can find that at facebook.com/Great People Show. And of course, all of our shows, everything that we've ever done here on the Great People Show can be heard on iTunes in the podcast section, Google Play, Spreaker. We are everywhere.
Probably worth noting, by the way.
Note it.
I saw that our Facebook page now around 12,000.
13,000.
13,000 likes.
Overnight. Yeah, we're growing. So like the page when you get there.
That's awesome.
Quite the fun. A big international group, too.
I saw that.
Yep. With my work in Carnegie over the last 17 years, I've always been fascinated with the international audience when it comes to growth in professional and personal development. Some of these international markets, just people everywhere, just it's extraordinary, especially countries like Japan and over in Asia. We want to give a shout out to our sponsor today, A Ginger Kid. You can go to agingerkid.com, put in the key code GIFTS and get 25% off. They're toys and tools that teach. We have some here in the studio, and I doubt you can see it if you're on Facebook Live because it's a little far away, but we spelled out the words great in these wooden heirloom toys. It's a great way to engage your children. If you want to be a great parent, buy some Ginger Kid toys.
Yeah, only took you an hour to put that together, by the way.
It actually took me a really long time to find all those letters and stack them up and make it look pretty. This show is a great way to highlight your company, either the products or just a great place to work, because we highlight great places to work here as well for sponsorship opportunities. Just email me directly, jj@greatpeopleshow.com. And even if you don't want to be a sponsor, email me directly.
Say hi.
I love talking to people. Say hi. Say hi. Later in the show, we're going to be taking callers. Our number here is 804-454-1366. That is 804-454-1366. We are here to inform you, the listener, so that you can survive and thrive in a very complicated world. That is what the Great People Show is about. We are simply guides on the journey.
We're not claiming to be the great people.
Nope.
We're kind of on that path, though.
We do not claim our own greatness.
Right.
We are here with you. We understand it. We often pick things to talk about that we are personally experiencing because we're just common folks.
Absolutely.
And we want to be here for the common folk. So I bet there's a listener out there somewhere that has had something happen at work or home just this morning that really ticked you off. Someone probably did or said something that you maybe took some offense to. And I bet this situation has been rolling around in your head all morning, just eating you alive. Maybe it happened days ago and it's still there. I know, I'm a parent. I wake up and the kids just get me just wound up because they don't want to go to school. They don't want to wake up.
It usually doesn't take long in the morning.
Minutes or seconds.
Yeah, find something.
Minutes or seconds. I've had plenty of people wrong me in my life. I'm sure I've wronged others. I'm not going to make a list this morning, but I know I've been on both ends of that equation. I can easily carry around that baggage of what they've done and the way they've made me feel, or I can move on in my life. And I'm curious, James, what are some things that when people push your buttons and they get stuck in your crawl? That's a Southern term.
Yeah.
Things get stuck in your crawl. What gets stuck in your crawl?
Man, what specifically?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
yeah. What gets stuck in your crawl?
I think ignorance definitely gets
Well,
stuck in my craw.
you live a very stuck in a crawled life then, don't you?
Yeah. Things, I probably let too many things get to me. And I know people tell me all the time that I wear my emotions on my sleeve.
Yeah.
So people can tell when I'm unhappy
Yeah.
or ticked off. I think a lot, and we've talked about this on the show before, I tend to expect a lot of myself. And so I automatically sort of tend to expect a lot from other people.
High expectations.
Yeah.
We've talked about that on the show.
We have.
Yeah.
And when people let you down,
yep,
or I feel like they've let me down, sometimes they probably really haven't let me down, but I feel that way.
Yep.
I do. I tend to carry that around with me, and sometimes I have trouble letting go.
Yeah. Mine personally is I have a pretty strong sense of urgency. If you're at work right now, you may be sitting at your desk or riding in your van, wherever you're at, just frustrated because people won't do it as fast as you can or good as you can, or don't take things as seriously as you do. And boy, oh boy, that gets frustrating. Those are what I would consider to be some of the smaller but significant things in life that really get us upset. Hey, you could just turn on the news and get upset with people. We mentioned the Boy Scouts earlier. I've had several conversations with people that are very upset about that. And so those situations start to live in our head rent free. Mm-hmm. When I was a trainer in a training program, that's probably going on 12 or 13 years now. And there was a woman there that recently went through a divorce. And as the story unfolded, as she shared more throughout the weeks in this particular program, it became very clear that she had not let go, but he had. There was some sort of wronging there. I don't know exactly what it was. Maybe it was infidelity. I don't know. And she was really struggling with moving on with her own life. And she coined the term, and I've heard it only a couple times since then, but it's a very powerful term, is I have let him live in my head rent-free since the day that we separated.
Yeah, I'd never heard that before.
And now it's time to kick him out.
Darn right.
And that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard.
I mean, does it come down to forgiveness?
That's a big piece of it. Mm-hmm. That's what we're going to talk about on today's show. Specifically the saying, I can forgive, but I cannot forget. Mm-hmm. And I'm taking a very strong position on this. I don't think I'm going to take that position yet on the show. I'm going to let this thing unfold. We would like to hear from you and your opinions on this subject. I'm curious, can you forgive and ever really forget?
Or should you forget?
And should you forget? And why is it so hard to forgive? Why is forgiveness so difficult when it comes to people that have really hurt us? Not the little things. I mean the big things.
Yeah.
Why is that so difficult? And to be a part of this conversation on the show, because we're really curious, we put this on Facebook this week, and we got tremendous response. There were a lot of deep, thoughtful answers. On today's show, we just want to help people just move on a little bit.
That's right.
There's a lot of people, you're just stuck. Your whole day is being ruined right now because you're stuck into something. So to be a part of this conversation, you can join us here at 804-454-1366. In a moment, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to start bringing this thing down for a landing here. Can you really forgive and forget? I don't know that you can.
We'll debate it
in a minute. You're listening to The Great People Show. Hi, I'm JJ White, host of The Great People Show. As a parent, I'm now busier than ever and don't have a lot of time for teaching my child fundamentals or helping them build good foundations. That's why I love products by A Ginger Kid. They allow me to spend time teaching critical skills to my children while we all have fun. The quality wood used in A Ginger Kid products can't be beat, and the wooden texture brings the nostalgia that allows both my child and I to enjoy our moments together. A Ginger Kid products are about equipping parents to help their children learn with confidence. A Ginger Kid also helps me pause to take moments to create intentional memories with my children. These classic toys teach classic moments. Go to agingerkid.com and enter the promo code GIFTS to receive 25% off your order as one of our listeners. A Ginger Kid, the tools and toys that teach.
For the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People was the Dale Carnegie course. Now, after 104 years, over 8 million people experience Dale Carnegie courses. People like Warren Buffett and Ronald Reagan. The Dale Carnegie experience uses proven techniques to permanently unlock the potential of top talent, making individuals into inspiring leaders and groups into high-performing teams, while reducing the financial and emotional costs of employee turnover. For more information, visit DaleCarnegieRichmond.com. That's DaleCarnegieRichmond.com.
Jacqueline and Nick thought they knew everything there was to know about each other. But after staying at the Omni homestead, where they discovered Nick was a natural in a kayak and Jacqueline had a zest for ziplining, they realized every journey is a chance to discover something new. How might staying at Omni affect you? From unlimited golf to intimate dining and romantic spa retreats, visit theomnihomestead.com to find the perfect package for your next getaway. The Omni Homestead Resort. Never stay the same.
Really mixing the music up.
I love it. Yeah. Boy. Getting funky in the Great People studio here. Okay. Whoops. You caught me singing. That's disgusting. Welcome back to the Great People Show. I'm the host, JJ, and James here in the studio with me. And we've broached today's subject talking about essentially how do you forgive and forget? How do you do it?
I sometimes I try to forgive. I can tell you I never forget.
And the reason we're talking about this today is as you live your life and you encounter all these challenges to wherever you want to be. Maybe you're going for a promotion at work. Maybe you're trying to build a family. Perhaps you're just trying to make ends meet. You're just trying to get ahead. The greatest barrier we have to moving forward in anything in life is ourselves. Mm-hmm. We can blame it on other things and other external issues and people. But at the end of the day, it's us. And man, if we are going to hold on to some of this anger and negativity and stuff, it's literally, you might as well just tie a massive ship anchor to your ankle and just drag it around with you. It's really terrible. So we were talking earlier before we went to break about this participant I had in a training session years ago, and she said that her ex-husband was living rent-free in her life. And I know with me, I let the news live rent-free in my life.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I know.
We just got through this election cycle, and
you were trying to change the subject this morning. I wanted the show because you were letting something live in your head rent-free.
That's true. It's still there.
It's still there. This is an important topic because many of you are nagged by this, and perhaps somebody just really ticked you off this morning, or somebody has said something nasty to you and your family or offended you. And we went to Facebook with this subject. There was one of our loyal listeners, Ryan, shared the story of his wife has MS, and his mom. I could tell from the story maybe his mom was living in the house with them, and she said something very derogatory about the MS, and he kicked her out of his life.
Wow.
I mean, we're talking, this is a big issue.
Yeah.
Right now, he may be able to forgive her, but clearly, and I poked around with him on this topic on the Facebook feed. He has never forgot. He will never forget. Mm-hmm. He will never forget. And sometimes people don't mean to hurt us, so we can let that go pretty easily. Other times when someone went out of their way to really cause us pain, all we can think about is revenge, like just getting back to them. Yeah. And it's all we can do just to calm ourselves down. Isn't the best thing to do, though, to let go and move on?
I think it absolutely is. That's easier said than done a lot of the time, though. You know, ego gets in the way a lot of the time. A lot of people can't handle if I feel like you've done something that has wronged me. Mm-hmm. You know, I want to have the last laugh, so to speak.
Pride.
Yeah.
Pride.
And I'm letting you win if I forgive you. That gets in the way a lot.
That was definitely probably some of the bigger chatter. Is it makes us vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
If we let someone get the leg up. Yeah. Another angle of this that we're going to talk about later is what happens when someone actually doesn't care that they hurt you. Mm. There's no remorse. Right? Actually, I'm going to save that one because I was about ready to get into it. But if the best thing that we should be doing is letting go and moving on, why don't we?
I think ego comes into it a lot. I think that sometimes we don't think that we're ready to let go. We feel like you've done something so terrible. The very thought to me of forgiving you is impossible. How can I possibly tell you? Because a lot of people think that when you forgive someone, you're telling them that it was okay.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not what forgiveness is supposed to be. But a lot of people think that that's what it is.
And I just thought about this, and it might be reaching too far, so let me throw it out there. When I'm coaching people and we go through leadership development programs, we get to this whole subject of showing people appreciation or giving people compliments or literally just lifting them up.
Mm-hmm.
It gets sticky when that person has not done a great job a lot.
Yeah.
Where they make mistakes a little bit more often than they should. And the leader comes back, and this happens quite a bit. The leader comes back and says, I'm afraid if I say something nice to them, they're going to think I'm affirming their poor behavior, right? If I say you're doing a good job with this, they're going to misinterpret that as they're doing a good job with everything. So I jokingly said, well, then it makes no sense to tell them anything nice. I mean, you might as well just keep accelerating the poor performance then, right? And is that the same thing as forgiving? Like if we forgive someone, if we say, hey, don't worry about it, I'm over it, you're forgiven, that we've released them to continue on with more poor behavior? Is that a fear of some people, do you think?
It's definitely a fear. I would say that it's an irrational fear. I would say that it is not in any way realistic, but that's absolutely a fear. I mean, if I forgive you, if you do something horrible to me and I forgive you, have I actually condoned it? I mean, that's what some people think. I was talking to some friends this week about the topic, and that's exactly what they were saying. And that's not the case.
And a part of I'm going to throw another one at you. Let's see if we can get controversial. It says in the Bible, an eye for an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they've wronged me, can't I wrong them back?
Oh,
I mean, the Bible says I can't.
The Bible also says that you should forgive your neighbor.
Daggone it. See, you know the Bible too much. So why can't you do it? I'm curious. If you're listening to the show right now on 97.7, 820, why can't you do it? Why can you not let go of some of these things? Why can you not forgive folks? And to just bring that onto the show, 804-454-1366, or we're on Facebook here. You can put it on the Facebook feed at facebook.com/greatpeopleshow. Because who really wants to live like this?
It's horrible. But a lot of people, there are people who've let it destroy relationships with their parents, their siblings, for years of their lives, and sometimes for their entire lives. Sometimes after something happens, for the rest of their lives. And it's horrible. So
we, James, you and I talked about this week. There's a lot of regrets whenever someone passes away.
Right.
And we talked about regrets several weeks ago on the show. There's several regrets people have when someone passes away. In fact, one of the commenters on the Facebook post this week said that she had just went to a funeral, and there was so much forgiveness being laid around, not amongst the person laying in the coffin being forgiven for what they had done, but really a lot of the people there for kind of forgiving each other for some of the wrongs that they have done to each other.
Really?
In light of the tragedy of death, of losing someone. My dad passed away in 2004, and I was still unforgiving to him for some of the things that I grew up with years after he passed. He he hit the bottle too much, right? He was gone a lot for his work, and I didn't like it at the time as being a kid. In reflection, he was doing the best thing he could for the family. So that was, as I matured, as I grew up, there is an element of forgiveness that happens too, right? So that emotionally we mature so much. So I look at that situation with my dad and say, I can get over that. And I wonder if there's still some things that I just probably haven't really forgiven him for. So this is where it leads to. My dad's passed away. There's no rebuttal. There's no debating. There's no remorse. There's no nothing. He's dead. But I'm still here dealing with forgiveness.
So that leads to a really big question, which is, when you forgive someone, is that for their benefit or for your benefit?
Ding, ding, ding. Exactly. Until we brought this topic up and I started to think about it, I never realized that forgiveness is for the forgiving. not the forgived. Forgiveness is for the forgiving, not the forgived. So let's talk about that for a little bit. If forgiveness and letting things go is for me, why is the number one barrier that we clarified here on the show all about the other person? Like, I can't do it because I have pride. I can't do it because they're unremorseful. I can't do it because they hurt me.
Because people are actually willing to continue to drag that anchor along and drag their own life down.
I don't get it.
Well, but I think part of it just is human nature. Sometimes it's easier for people to do that than it is for them to forgive. Sometimes forgiving somebody is the hardest thing that we can do. And it's not until you've done it that you realize the amazing feeling that you'll have when that weight, when that burden is lifted off of you.
So here's the first challenge we have for our listeners today. Is there's someone in your life right now that you're letting live in your head rent free, and they are dragging you down, and you may not even be that consciously aware of it, but maybe it was something big that they wronged you with a year ago, a day ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, and you're dragging it down. Rossi Bell says on our Facebook live feed right now, sometimes I think people hold on to the past and don't forgive because they need to use the past as an excuse for the present situation. Freaking nailed it.
Yeah.
People are looking for an excuse to justify their negative feelings and their negative current situation. And we've talked about this. That's why we are here on the show, because we don't want anybody in this world right now to have to settle for the situation they're in if they want more. There's no reason for it. Everyone has, for the most part, a great amount of power in their life to live the life that they want to live. And this whole forgiveness thing, this whole being wronged and let it sit around in your head, you said it a minute ago. It's the biggest anchor we have in our life. It's like you're literally waiting around for someone to call and just apologize, and they never will.
Yeah, they're not. A lot of the time, people aren't going to apologize, and that's where ego. I mean, I can't say it. I think ego is what drives so much of this, and you've got to be able to swallow that ego, swallow that pride, and for your own benefit, let it go.
So before we're going to hop on a break here in about 90 seconds, I'm going to drop a bomb, and I want callers to call in and debate me on this issue. I really want someone to tell me I'm right or wrong. I prefer you to tell me I'm right, but of course, we'd have more fun in the show if I'm wrong. I do not believe true forgiveness is possible.
Really?
Because I believe forgiveness is directly attached to forgetting. When people say, I can forgive, but I cannot forget, if you cannot forget, therefore, you've not truly forgiven. I am skeptical that true forgiveness actually exists in this world. So to be a part of this conversation, if you think that I'm wrong or I'm right, call into the show. Let's figure it out. We're at 804-454-1366, 804-454-1366. James, before we go to this break, what do you think? Where are you at?
I'm trying not to crush this block with my hand right now.
Well, don't crush it on my head.
I will be the first caller because I wholeheartedly disagree with that statement completely. And after the break, we're going to talk about this a lot more.
Yeah, and this is something that really didn't creep into me until I really dug into it.
Yeah.
Come on back, O. Great People Show.
With SRN News, I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. 5 Western hostages have been released after 5 years of captivity in Pakistan. American Caitlin Coleman and her husband, Canadian Joshua Boyle, were abducted while traveling in Afghanistan and had been held by a network with ties to the Taliban. Coleman was pregnant when she was captured. The couple had 3 children while in captivity, and U.S. officials say all have been freed. California's wildfires are proving to be stubborn. Nearly 24 blazes continue to burn. At least 23 people have been killed. President Trump is criticizing hurricane-ravaged Puerto Rico. He says the government can't keep federal aid there forever. On Twitter this morning, he criticized the U.S. territory, saying there is a total lack of accountability and electric and all infrastructure was disaster before the hurricanes. This is SRN News.
Futures and options trading involves substantial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Fire the stockbroker and hire yourself. I'm Larry Levin, and I've been on the trading floor for 23 years. I was one of the biggest traders in the S&P pit. I'm also the president of Trading Advantage, the leading educational firm teaching people how to become professional day traders. Now, for a limited time, I'm offering one of the trading techniques I use to make $1.9 million for free. Get started right now by calling 800-489-8876. Leave your email address on my voicemail, and I'll email you my free trading technique and daily insiders market report at no cost to you. This is the very information I use to build my fortune.
I was getting ready to retire. I still needed to make extra income, but I didn't want to work for anyone else. Because of Larry and his excellent instructors, I can trade successfully for myself, and I'll never have to work for someone else again.
Fire the stockbroker and hire the most dependable person you know. You. Again, call in the next 90 minutes. Leave your email address on my voicemail. 800-489-8876. 800-489-8876. 800-489-8876.
Hi, I'm JJ White, host of The Great People Show. As a parent, I'm now busier than ever and don't have a lot of time for teaching my child fundamentals or helping them build good foundations. That's why I love products by A Ginger Kid. They allow me to spend time teaching critical skills to my children while we all have fun. The quality wood used in A Ginger Kid products can't be beat, and the wooden texture brings a nostalgia that allows both my child and I to enjoy our moments together. A Ginger Kid products are about equipping parents to help their children learn with confidence. A Ginger Kid also helps me pause to take moments to create intentional memories with my children. These classic toys teach classic moments. Go to agingerkid.com and enter the promo code GIFTS to receive 25% off your order as one of our listeners. A Ginger Kid, the tools and toys that teach. All right, we're back on the Great People Show. That's been our normal break exit song. And after hearing some of the new ones that Asher's already tested out, I'm already tired of it.
Really?
I want some of the new ones. I like the new ones. I love the new ones. It's the same song, just multiple versions of it. So on today's show, we are talking about being able to let things go in your life. Forgive and forget. And right before break, I made a startling statement that I do not believe that if you have forgiven and not forgotten, that's true forgiveness. I made a call to the audience to call me and debate me, and we have someone here that is, I don't know, we'll find out. Matt, you're on the air.
Yes. Hey, JJ.
What's going on, buddy?
Not much.
So what do you think about this whole forgiveness thing? What's your viewpoint? Are you going to debate me?
Yeah.
Let's have it.
Of course I am.
Let's have it. What do you think?
Well, I partly agree with you.
Which part? So which part do you agree on?
Well, actually, I don't know.
All right.
Maybe I don't.
Okay.
I think.
What you think?
Well, my issue is if you can't truly forgive somebody, what's the point?
Okay.
Like, why even say you forgive them?
Yep.
I mean, you don't have to forget.
So in a way, you're agreeing with me, right? Because if you cannot forget, right? If someone says, I will forgive them, but I will not forget what they did to me, then you're still harboring negative feelings. You're still harboring potentially the anger and the emotion. You can't trust them. Isn't that not forgiving? Am I right or wrong about that?
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm thinking of a situation I went through several years ago.
Yeah.
I've told you about it. And I got to the point where I wrote in about it.
Yeah.
The issue of taking back the power.
Yeah. Who is that from?
Because
Who were you taking the power back from?
I was taking it back from myself.
Yeah. From who? Who had it?
From the person that I was angry with.
Yeah. So
it was a waste. I figured out it was a total waste of energy and time.
It was. Well, Matt, thanks for calling into the show.
I to be angry at this person for what happened.
Matt.
And as soon as I did that,
yeah,
life was good.
So Matt, thanks for calling the show. James and I are going to debate this right now. We're going to go after this. Keep listening, Matt, because we want you to hear what we come up with. So Matt brings up the point of taking the power back.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're taking power, I think Matt agrees with me. I think Matt is on my side with this, that if you're harboring things, you cannot truly forgive them. Now, if you're taking the power back from somebody, then you're owning it, right? I mean, you're not letting go.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong. You can forgive and you can get rid of that emotional baggage. And you don't want to forget. I had a very in-depth conversation, long conversation with a close friend about this just about a month or two ago. So this person, his father was an alcoholic as he grew up.
All right.
And it really impacted their relationship. He said through a lot of his childhood and really created a big divide between him and his father with the drinking. Well, his father ultimately stopped drinking and decided to go sober and asked my friend for his forgiveness. And he forgave his dad. And he said, I needed to be able, life is too short. I needed to be able to have a relationship with my father for the rest of my life. And so I have forgiven him. And we got into the whole forgiveness versus forgetting thing. And he said, that doesn't mean that I don't still think about it. He said, I will never forget it. He said, but I wouldn't want to. He said, because of the experience from growing up in that household, it has changed my attitudes towards alcohol. It has changed the way that I will raise my children. He said that every time I see my father, I'm concerned that maybe he's going to relapse, and I'm paying attention to, is he drinking? Is he going to have another drink?
Yeah.
And he said, if I were to forget about it, I would lose all the lessons that it taught me, the positive that I can pull out of this. I would lose my caring for my father to make sure that this doesn't happen again and that I'm there for him. He said, I don't carry any baggage. I have let it go. I have let the pain that caused me in my childhood go, but I will never forget, because forgetting would be the absolute worst thing that I could do.
So Astra has a comment on this. Astra, is your mic hot?
Yes, it's hot.
Make it, man. I like it. I want you to read the comment. That was a good one.
I wholly agree with James, because forgiveness is the restoration of the relationship, but forgetting would just open yourself back up to having more of the same thing happen to you.
So let's have a three-way debate on this, because I want you all to gang
It's
up
2-on-1 right now, James. Can you handle that?
No. I think it's you and James against me.
I know, but you are James.
Oh, so you're asking. So you're asking James if y'all can handle me. Is that what's up?
Oh, we can take him on.
Well, he has all the buttons, so he can actually just silence me anytime he wants. So let's break it out into the whole forgetting thing. When I hear people say, "I will forgive them, but I will not forget," I don't think most of the time they're talking about what you all are just positioning, which is the keeping context of it, making sure you don't lose the lesson. I think when people say, I have forgiven them, but I will not forget, they're talking about trust. Like, I will not be able to let them do that again to me. I will not. We talked about before the show, infidelity. If two people are in a marriage and one person cheats and they decide after all this comes out that they stay together, I'm most sure anybody who gets cheated on is going to say, because if they're staying together, there's got to be a level of forgiveness. There just has to be. I don't care if you say you're doing it for the kids. There's still a level of forgiveness. So you forgive, but I won't forget that relationship, you cannot expect it to ever be the way that it was before.
But it can get closer to the way it was before.
But it never will be, though.
You're right.
So how do you say you've forgiven that person if you're still going to harbor those kind of feelings?
Because you've been able to let go and move on from that incident, from when they were actually not being faithful to you.
Yeah.
You can do that while not forgetting it. It takes time to heal the wound. Just because you've forgiven doesn't mean that wound is healed right away. It doesn't mean you're still not going to think about it.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And of course, that's a huge example. Let's take it more to something that isn't as life changing.
Okay.
Let's say that your son, JJ, doesn't study for a big math test that he has, and
common issue.
Okay, so he brings back a D on his math test,
okay.
And you're upset with him because he didn't do what he needed to do to prepare for that test.
Yep.
Are you gonna? So my first question: Are you going to forgive him when he says he's sorry?
So in this situation,
no.
I thought you were going to ask.
Oh, I want to know from you. I just want a simple answer.
Yeah. So I wouldn't even consider this a situation where I have to give him forgiveness.
Why is that?
Nothing to do with me. It's him and his grade.
But he feels he let you down. He's seeking your forgiveness.
I don't see it that way.
Taking it back to the more extreme example, if let's say there was adultery and there was that big gap, you forgive is the first step to restoring the relationship. The second step would be restoring trust, which would happen incrementally.
Yes.
And the more trust there was, the more ability there would be to forget, because you hold on to things and you remember things to protect yourself from having something like that happen again.
So you're saying forgiveness is the gateway in a process?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
So I could see that. I could see that. The shift that I'm having trouble coming up with is once something really bad happens and you feel like you've truly let go of it, that you're done with it, that there's no resentment. In most of those situations, that person has probably left your life. Like you literally have forgotten that person. That even when that person steps into your life for a moment, you don't feel any negativity towards it. To me, that's just total forgiveness. Like that, to me, that's like, I have absolutely no negative feeling. But if you're still really, if you think that you've forgiven somebody, but you're still pretty wound up over it, I don't know that you have.
But nobody said that they're wound up. They just said that they're not going to forget. That doesn't make you wound up about it.
So I'm talking about the folks, especially the ones on Facebook that said, forgive and forget. And then they go on to say, but it'll never be this way, or I'll never do this, or I'll never do that. It's like, I don't think you've forgiven. And if I was in a counseling situation, and I never am because I'm not a counselor,
right.
I would say, it doesn't sound like you've forgiven. So is there a degree of forgetfulness? Is there, maybe the real is I can forgive and I have amnesia.
Well, but what's the alternative, JJ? So if let's go back to since we're seems stuck on infidelity. If your partner is unfaithful to you, then are you capable of forgetting?
Good question. So we're gonna take a break, and I've posed the question to the entire audience. I don't believe that you can truly forgive if you haven't forgotten. Debate me on this issue, or maybe you just want to share your thoughts on why is it so hard to forgive and move on. When we come back, we're going to be talking to some more folks and just keep debating it, because we want to make sure that we are able to help you move past some of this baggage in your head. You're listening to The Great People Show.
Before the book How to Win Friends and Influence People was the Dale Carnegie course. Now, after 104 years, over 8 million people experience Dale Carnegie courses. People like Warren Buffett and Ronald Reagan. The Dale Carnegie experience uses proven techniques to permanently unlock the potential of top talent, making individuals into inspiring leaders and groups into high-performing teams, while reducing the financial and emotional costs of employee turnover. For more information, visit DaleCarnegieRichmond.com. That's DaleCarnegieRichmond.com.
Hi, I'm JJ White, host of The Great People Show. As a parent, I'm now busier than ever and don't have a lot of time for teaching my child fundamentals or helping them build good foundations. That's why I love products by A Ginger Kid. They allow me to spend time teaching critical skills to my children while we all have fun. The quality wood used in A Ginger Kid products can't be beat, and the wooden texture brings a nostalgia that allows both my child and I to enjoy our moments together. A Ginger Kid products are about equipping parents to help their children learn with confidence. A Ginger Kid also helps me pause to take moments to create intentional memories with my children. These classic toys teach classic moments. Go to agingerkid.com and enter the promo code GIFTS to receive 25% off your order as one of our listeners. A Ginger Kid, the tools and toys that teach.
Jacqueline and Nick thought they knew everything there was to know about each other. But after staying at the Omni homestead, where they discovered Nick was a natural in a kayak and Jacqueline had a zest for ziplining, they realized every journey is a chance to discover something new. How might staying at Omni affect you? From unlimited golf to intimate dining and romantic spa retreats, visit theomnihomestead.com to find the perfect package for your next getaway. The Omni Homestead Resort. Never stay the same.
Oh, I want something just like this. Where'd you wanna go? How much you wanna
All right. We're back on the Great People Show, talking about forgiveness, letting things go, kicking people out of your head. I have been saying for about 30 minutes that I'm not sure that true forgiveness is possible. And if you want to be a part of that conversation, 804-454-1366. Let's talk for a minute about the unforgivable. And you asked me, is there such a thing?
Is there such a thing? I don't believe there is.
So this came up when a lot of people were responding on social media that they cannot forgive people that have no remorse.
Mm-hmm.
They have not repented against their sin. Some even took it to the biblical proportion. That's not, I'm not saying that out of colorful language, literally biblical proportion, mm-hmm. that even God can't forgive until you repent. And I never really thought about that if someone literally says, I don't care if you forgive me or not, I really don't care if you forgive me, is it possible to really let him go?
Absolutely it is, because it goes back to oftentimes forgiveness, and you said it earlier in the show, oftentimes forgiveness is about the person who is giving the forgiveness.
Exactly. That was the point, right?
Yeah, I mean, we saw this. So two events that come to mind. We had the horrendous church shooting in Charleston, mm-hmm. South Carolina. Mm-hmm. And then before that, we had the shooting in the movie theater in Colorado. Now, both of those horrible, horrible people, human beings that committed those crimes, neither of them have repented at all.
But how do you know that?
It's been in the news.
Let's just assume that they
I'm going to go
right?
with the fact that that's not fake news.
Right.
That
it's all fake, James.
Yeah. That they have.
The show is fake.
That's another
Everything's
show.
fake. We're not real.
That those people have not asked for forgiveness. They don't want forgiveness. They believe that what they did was justified, especially the Charleston shooter. Yeah. Yeah. So we've seen in the news that families.
Can I tailgate on something? I've seen people on death row literally getting executed, in that glass booth where the family of the victim is coming in is going to watch them being executed, mm-hmm. where these folks are praying for that person that is being executed, that they are saying out loud, we forgive you for what you did.
Yeah.
Now that person, does it even matter does it even matter?
No.
Does it even matter? Because those folks that have now lost a loved one and now they're watching another human being lose their life can still forgive. That is powerful.
Yeah.
That is very powerful.
So is there such thing as something that is unforgivable? Absolutely not.
I agree.
There are certainly.
I do agree with you.
Good. Well, then we have one thing from today.
Doubt it. I'm just kidding.
But that is not to say that, like you said, we will have people that don't want forgiveness. You also have people that have done something, or you feel have done something to you, and they don't feel like they were in the wrong.
Oh, that's literally. They thought that they were doing the right thing.
Right.
And then I've seen situations where you forgive that person for doing something wrong and they fight you on it.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing to forgive me for. Literally, that's what they say.
Yeah.
There's nothing. You can't forgive me. I've done nothing wrong.
Next time you're having an argument with your wife, just stop mid-argument and say, I forgive you.
We don't do that.
And see what happens.
You really don't want me to be around much longer, do you? You really want that to
happen?
When
I said you, I mean anybody who's out there listening.
I forgive you for treating me this way.
Oh.
Yeah. Blackout.
That would not be.
Just peel yourself up off the floor.
Would not go well.
That's not good. So this is just proof. This is just evidence that forgiveness is really for us and has little to nothing to do with the other person.
Yeah.
In fact, we have no power over anybody to release them from anything.
That's right.
It's forgiving them is not releasing them at all. It's releasing ourselves.
Right. That's up to the person. If the person wants to repent, and that's a whole nother topic for another day. if the person on the other side wants to repent, that is separate. Now, a lot of the time when we do forgive somebody, that can help heal them as well if they are sorry. And that's great when it works that way. But when it doesn't, that doesn't mean that there's not a point or a reason to forgive them. We need to forgive them so that we can move on, so that we can continue on our path to greatness. Because I can tell you that an anchor holding you down because you refuse to forgive is going to hold you back in all aspects of your life.
I want to come back to this whole forgive and forget thing. We're
not going to quit on this.
We haven't had enough people call in to debate me on this issue. So if you're just tuning in, I proclaimed earlier that if you say I have forgiven, but I have not forgotten, that you really have not forgiven. I do see a point that if you do stay protective over this situation, because you don't, what's that saying? Hurt me once, shame on you. Hurt me twice, shame on me. That we can't completely let go of our security.
Yeah.
But we do have to let go of the emotions. Whole other debate here. Is forgiveness a decision or is it an emotion? Is it just an act, or is it truly releasing ourselves from this baggage that we have? Because how often have you thought that you've forgiven someone? May even go so far as to say, you look them in the eye, say, I forgive you. Or I got over that a long time ago, but you weren't being authentic. You were actually just hoping, like you were scrambling for a way out of all this negative emotion. So you say, I forgive you, but you really didn't, because when something else comes up, maybe not even related, it all comes rushing back into you.
Well, I guess it all has to do with your perspective. And I think if that's what you believe, then in your reality, that's the way it is. My reality is this. I'll give you another good example.
Okay.
So I've owned a few businesses around town here, and I've had a lot of employees, and I have been wronged by a lot of employees over the years. Some that I trusted impeccably.
So the wrong goes deeper.
Absolutely. And it cut me, it hurt me a lot. And one of these people that comes to mind, she came back after, and she was no longer employed by us. But we had become very close with her before this incident happened. And she came back months later and she apologized. She came and said, I am sorry for what happened. I'm not asking for my job back. I don't expect it back. She was seeking forgiveness.
She had to be released.
And I hadn't let it go. I was very still upset with her, wrongfully for me, and I forgave her. Now, to this day, I've got a good relationship with this person. We talk. I meet her for lunch occasionally. I'm not bound up by this. It doesn't bother me. Now, would I rehire her? No, I would not.
No way.
Because I've not forgotten. But I assure you, when I see her and when I talk to her, there is no anger. There is no stress.
So that's forgiveness.
I have forgiven it, but I haven't forgotten, JJ.
So I got a great quote from I'm going to have to spell the last name. Thomas Saz. It's spelled S-Z-A-S-Z. The stupid neither forgive nor forget. The naive forgive and forget. The wise forgive, but do not forget. So this Thomas guy is totally lined up with y'all.
I like Thomas.
I know you'd like Thomas. See, I can look at the other person's point of view. I think that's a great example. And also think of this wonderful quote from Martin Luther King Jr. Forgiveness is not an occasional act. It is a permanent attitude. So a big element of this is how easily are you offended? Maybe that's maybe that's a topic for the next show or a future show, because you seemed very offended by what happened with the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just tell.
Disappointed.
Okay. So maybe offensive is too.
Yeah. I'm not taking it personally.
Right. Is if you're walking on eggshells emotionally, or people in your life are walking on eggshells emotionally, you're just opening yourself up almost to a constant stream of situations that you either have to forgive other people for or have to be forgiven for.
Yeah.
That's the root of this issue. Like, to King's point here, I would love to live a life where I don't really have to worry about forgiveness, because it doesn't make it that far into my heart for me to have to go through this mental anguish of doing it. And if you think of the most hurtful wrongs that you can have in your life, which are probably going to come from your parents, your spouse, or your children, there's very few people that are going to hurt you more than those folks. you are living on a totally different plane of emotional stability if those folks are actively doing things to hurt you and you say, I'm not going to be bothered by it because I love you too much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just like in awe of someone that can do that. And I personally, I want to believe that I have been on that journey, that's part of that journey to greatness is being what King talks about being, which is incredibly powerful.
It's so powerful that when I meet somebody like that, and I will admit this, when I meet somebody like that, I question whether or not it's even real.
Mm.
And that's probably wrong of me. But
I forgive you for that thought.
Yeah, thank you. And I forgive you for your difference of opinion, by the way.
Well, here's another quote. Bernard Meltzer. When you forgive, you in no way change the past, but you sure do change the future.
Mm-hmm.
And that proves what we've been saying. I love Asher's point. Asher just, I think, nailed it. One of the nails that got nailed today on today's show was forgiveness is the first step of the process of restoration.
Yeah, I think that's
being realistic that you'll never have full restoration. I'm in awe of you, Asher. I can't believe you even turned your mic off. Like he dropped mic.
He did.
He said that
he's done for the day.
I was done. That was it.
Well, he's back now. Actually, I really enjoy this three-way conversation. Asher, is there a situation in your life that you feel like you still need to give forgiveness to somebody?
Oh, there are several.
Who is it? You don't have to mention names, but
I'll mention the most recent one, which was actually yesterday. And there is a massive bureaucratic organization who has, we'll not name them, but the service that they provided me was very subpar.
The federal government?
No, it wasn't the federal government, but something like that.
Just kidding.
And I had a call, and he was asking about from another division in this organization. He was asking me how something had gone, and I just seen there's a person in charge, and he said he was going to call me back in 10 minutes when I had a problem, and then he didn't return my call, and then he never returned my call. So I would call him, I still had a problem, and I mean, I had to fight a 6-month battle to get this thing taken care of. And the first line that I was told when I had one of their people come back to the business for something else was, that's not our, I've already talked with so-and-so, and that's not our fault. I mean, this is not our problem.
Yeah.
And generally it always is. They're saying, I mean, it's just the first line they come in with, but it's amazing how much bitterness there was there. And I was just shocked. And that's why the show's
not over it yet?
This show's been on point because I need to.
So what are you going to do? What's one thing
I need to not give them free rent in my mind.
Right. So James, real quick, what's one thing that you're going to do today or tomorrow to extend forgiveness to someone? You don't even have to tell us who. Just.
I think I'm going to try to remember that forgiveness is about me as much, if not more, as it is them, and hopefully improve my mindset a little more that I need to let things go. I need to be able to move on.
And I think I mentioned this earlier in the show. My dad's been passed for a while. I think I still need to explore maybe what's left over from that relationship that I can forgive, because as this quote says, you may not be able to change the past, but you sure do change the future. And I want to change my future.
Yeah.
We have incredible goals here on this show to go global. And we want to thank you all for participating and being a part of the show, the Great People Show. See you back next week, folks.
Thursday, 9 a.m. We'll be here.
See ya.